Hi everybody, this is Shay-lon. Today is Thursday. First of all, I wanted to tell everybody that I didn't already mention, thank you for the birthday wishes yesterday. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come to my channel or to come to my social media and wish me a happy birthday. That made me feel really good, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I had a wonderful birthday. I did a short live video on Instagram, Facebook, and my YouNow account. So it wasn't anything long, but I was just showing some of the gifts that my best friend got me. And I am very thankful and grateful. So I appreciate that. And I hope all of you had a wonderful Wednesday as well. Secondly, I decided to do this video today about my own personal body battle because I think a lot of you, from what I've found and from some of your titles of your videos, a lot of you are dealing with weight loss issues and stuff like that, which is awesome that you guys are on your journey. But I think I want to give my viewers a reason for why I'm on mine, so that I don't come off as cliche, I guess you could say. So for starters, growing up, I was never overweight. I'll be totally honest with you. I was in very good shape. I was always fairly thin, and I was an athlete. I played basketball, track, and ran track and did high jump, and then I also did softball. So I was athletic all year round for all my life, pretty much all my life. Even went up to play D1 collegiate basketball and what have you. So I was a good athlete overall, just an overall good athlete. So I didn't struggle with some of the same body issues as some of you females or men. So I will not lie and try to make my story match yours, because it will not at any point in time match yours, possibly, outside of the fact that I know what it's like to lose self-esteem. My problems came in middle school with my body. Probably about, I want to say 7th grade. It was my first year at this new middle school. And I had transferred because we had moved, but it was the same city, just a different building, different school. And I had joined their basketball team, and I was the only, how do I say this, the only black girl on the team, which was fine because I grew up in this city that's relatively not as diverse as many other places. But not only that, a lot of the girls were like me, you know, thin, relatively good shape and what have you. But there were a couple of girls on the team that kind of nitpicked at my body and stuff like that. And one of the things that stands out to me is we were doing a stretch in a circle, and I was wearing shorts, and these females were taking jabs at the fact that they could see stretch marks on my thighs. Now, me personally, I knew they were there, but they never really bothered me. You know, it wasn't like something I would just wonder about. But these girls really talked about it a lot, and they were laughing and giggling, you know, and I assumed they knew what stretch marks meant, where I was kind of oblivious to it, didn't really think much of it. But it really hurt my self-esteem. And I'd go home and ask my mom about it, and you know, she told me what I guess any parent would say, you know, not to worry about that. But she also gave me reasons why stretch marks happen. So it wasn't like, you know, she was babying me, but she also just let me know that it's, you know, women get them, and it's nothing wrong with that, you know. So every day since that day in the locker room, I'd always, you know, be very body conscious of everything. I wanted to be thin enough. I wanted to have nice defined body, you know, nice abs. I wanted my legs to be really nice and toned. I mean, I was very picky, and nobody really knew about this. This was something that I didn't like, you know, go off and tell people. But I was very picky, very strict on how my body looked. I mean, very strict since that day, especially during basketball practices. And people would make comments like, oh, you're way too thin, or do you even eat, or just making body shaming comments about somebody who's of thin stature. And I know it's kind of rare these days, but I got it a lot, and not only from kids, but from adults as well. Like adults, not like 20-some adults, but like 30, 40 years of age adults. And they'd make comments saying, I hardly have a butt and stuff like that, and it hurt my feelings because I thought being thin was a good thing, because I didn't really know any better. Body shaming wasn't a big thing, back then. At least we didn't talk about it as often as we do now. And that continued throughout high school, really, up to like maybe my senior year. But my 10th and 11th grade year was really bad too, because I ended up moving to a different state in Texas at the time, and it was a lot more diverse. I ended up playing basketball again and running track and stuff, and a lot of the girls would make comments like, she's really thin, she doesn't have a body, they'd make fun of how long my arms were, they would make fun of how thick my neck was, they would just put me down constantly, and it was hard to fit in. It was hard because because I was either too thin or not thin enough, and people either wanted me to have a nice butt and nice boobs, or they just thought it was too much. And so I was very self-conscious, and I was in shape, and I thought I was at the best I could be, but I just wasn't making anybody happy, I guess. And so after graduating, I stayed there for 2 years, and I moved to Colorado, and things were a lot better. I didn't get teased about my body, which was nice for a change. But after college, I started really hating myself a lot, and I decided I didn't really care anymore, and I ended up gaining weight. The most I've ever been was like 169, and that's when my family started noticing I had gained a lot of weight. And so my mom would tell me, and my family members would tell me on the holidays and stuff like that, and it would hurt because I was in denial about it for so long, just because I didn't care. But I would look in the mirror and I'd just think I'm gross, and I'd hate it. And then after that, I decided to want to change, when I finally realized that this is not the way I wanted to look, and that I wanted to look the way I wanted to look. Long story short, I ended up changing my major and getting into exercise science, where I lost the majority of my weight. And really falling in love with fitness and health, and to this day, I still deal with body image issues. Obviously, people don't make fun of me. They compliment my body more than enough. More than enough I can handle sometimes. Whether it's at the gym or just every day walking around, I've always gotten compliments, and it makes me feel good, but I'm so self-consciously aware that I aim for this perfection that might not ever happen. And it's hard, because I don't necessarily want to care that much, but I do. It just stays with me. If my stomach doesn't have a 6-pack and only has a 4, I get really angry with myself. Or if my muscles aren't showing, I get really upset. Or if I feel like I've gained weight, sometimes I just get upset, and nobody knows this. Nobody really knows, because it's not like I tell people, but I'm very self-conscious, and for somebody who's in shape and still plays sports and stuff like that, and still is active, and obviously, other people looking in would know I'm not obese or overweight or anything like that, but I internally can't handle imperfections sometimes. And it's hard, because I deal with it every day, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with who I am and what I look like, but I'm constantly trying to be better. And I guess it's a good thing to be better, but it becomes an obsession. So, yeah, it's a little bit of an illness, I suppose, but I work on it, and I'm getting better. I'm better at accepting certain flaws, and my stretch marks I've accepted for the most part. So that one thing, that was bothersome then isn't as bothersome now. I'm sorry for crying, you guys. I didn't realize it was going to be this emotional because I thought maybe that it didn't bother me anymore, but since I constantly have to deal with this, I guess it does bother me more than I thought. But I wanted you guys to know that even a different side of the story. A lot of you dealt with being name called because you were overweight, or you were the big girl, or the tall girl, or the tall guy, or the big guy, or the chubby kid, or the really skinny kid. A lot of you have your own issues, and you're probably either over them, or you still have certain things that you're always going to have, or what have you. But I wanted people to know my story, because most people think because you're thin or skinny, or if you're athletic, you don't get made fun of. But it's worse, because when I'm in shape, I have other women who are also in shape who put me down because I'm not as in shape as them. Or I have people who find flaws in my body, even though I feel good about it, and makes it harder for me to accept things. So you get thrown around a lot. I guess that's what happened to me. I got thrown around. I went from being really thin, the people not being happy with that, to gaining weight, and then people not being happy with that, to then I didn't know where I belonged in this whole formation. Now I know what my goals are, and I strive for them, and I'm okay for the most part, but I still have my obsessions where I want to look a certain way, where I have to have my body look a certain way, and I'm always going to have those little things that I nitpick at, but they're not as bad as they used to be. They're not as bad. Do I have an eating disorder? No, not by any means. It's just, I guess, my perception of my body might be different than other people's perception. So somebody who thinks of me and looks at my picture and says, wow, you have a nice six-pack, I might see only a 4. Maybe that's because I want it to be better or what have you, but I'm learning to accept myself and to not compare myself to others, because I really don't compare myself to others. I never really did. I mean, I compliment other people's body types, but I don't really try to strive for somebody else's necessarily. So I'm just learning more and more to accept my flaws, my body flaws, physical flaws. And I'm sorry once again that I cried on this video. I guess it just really brought out emotions that I didn't expect it to bring out. Since I'm 25 and these things happen in middle school and high school, you would think I'd grew up and been over it. But yeah, I dealt with my own body shaming story, and I just wanted to share this with you guys, because all of you have shared yours, and I've been able to hear you guys open up, but I didn't really open up about mine. So I hope this video serves a purpose to somebody's life, and helps you guys to understand that even somebody who might not be that case of that popular case, that rare, girl who's thin getting made fun of. I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that it happens to people who are fit too. I get just as much body shaming now as I did then, and it happens to, as you guys know, it happens to people who are overweight, underweight, eating disorders, no eating disorders. Everybody gets made fun of at some point, I get it, and everybody has flaws, but even in these rare situations where somebody like me, you would think, had no issues, had issues, and being the top athlete that I could be, I still dealt with a whole lot of things that are internal, and some things I'll never talk about. But thank you for watching. Like I said, I hope this serves a purpose, and to cheer you guys up, my birthday went really well, and I am very blessed to have the people in my life that I have. So thank you, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful Thursday. Peace out, and I love you guys.